Let's get our souls refreshed with the man from Dublin, Mr. Paul Brogan.
Thank you very much, Liz. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm playing my song. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, good evening. Good evening. Sounds good to me. Now listen, I haven't got very much time tonight, so I want to crash on and get as many in as I can for you. If we didn't meet the other night, my name is Paul Brogan, and I come from a place called Dublin, Ireland. Now in Ireland we laugh at everything and everybody, but most of all we laugh at ourselves. Because we think if you can laugh at yourself, you'll never be short of entertainment. Am I right? Now, just before I came away to join the ship, I went to church, you see? And we had one of them blood and thunder preachers, you know, one of them lads. He was putting the fear of God into us. There he was, stood up in the pulpit, he glared down at us and he let out a roar. He says, stand up, anybody who wants to go to heaven. So we all jumped up. He says, sit down again, so we all sat down. He says, stand up, anybody who wants to go to hell. And of course nobody stood up, apart from one fella, Casey, all on his own at the back of the church. The priest looked down, he says, Casey, says, do you want to go to hell? Ah, no, Father, says Casey, I just didn't like to see you standing there all by yourself. Now, I'm not waiting for you tonight, I'm not waiting for you, I'm getting on with it, right? About 2 weeks ago, I went for the yearly checkup. You see, the yearly checkup. So I'm sitting in the doctor's waiting room, minding my own business, when suddenly the door to his office bursts open, and this little nun comes out, about that size, you see? She's in a terrible state. Tears streaming down her cheeks, and she's crying, oh no, 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 oh no, 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 like that, you see? So out she goes out, we can still hear her out in the road, oh no, 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 like that. So I was next in, and I know you're not supposed to, but I couldn't help myself. I asked him. I said, doctor, I said, is that poor nun, is she going to be alright? He said, oh, her, he said, don't worry about her. He said, she's going to be fine. He said, the problem with her was, I had to tell her she was pregnant. I said, my God, I said, and is she? He said, no, not at all, but it cured her hiccups. Well, it would do, wouldn't it? Now, come on, somebody told you that. Let me tell you about Seamus Sweeney. Seamus Sweeney, right, and his wife. They're expecting their first child. And they live out on a remote farm, miles away from the nearest town. So anyway, the big day arrives, she goes into labour. But by the time the doctor gets out there, the place is so far away, it's the middle of the night, you see. So Sweeney and the doctor are around the bed, you see, attending to the wife. And Sweeney's holding the lamp for the doctor so he can see and get on with his business. The doctor says, congratulations, Sweeney, says, you're now the father of a beautiful bouncing boy, you know? So Sweeney says, that's fantastic, doctor, he says. It's fantastic. He says, listen, we'll have a drink. The doctor says, wait, he says. Bring that light a little bit closer. He said, be God, he says, you're now the father of twins. Sweeney says, oh, that's amazing, doctor. He said, listen, we'll open a bottle. Wait a minute, says the doctor. Bring that light a little bit closer. He says, because you're now the father of triplets. Sweeney says, this is incredible, doctor. He says, listen, we'll have the best party this county has ever seen. The doctor says, wait, he says, bring the light a little bit closer. He said, I think there's another one coming. And Sweeney says, listen, doctor, he says, I don't want to be difficult, but do you think it's the light that's attracting them? Of course, this is the late night crowd, isn't it? My swingers, isn't it? All right. I'm standing at a bus stop, right? In Dublin. Two Irish women, two real typical Dublin women in front of me, right? Chatting away, obviously very good friends. And one turns to the other, she says, Rose, she says, do you know something? I'm a bit embarrassed, but I'd like to ask you, your advice on something. Maybe you could explain something to me, and I'm a bit embarrassed about it. So the other one says, go on, Mary, what do you want to know? And she says, listen, Rose, I wonder if you could explain to me what the difference is between erotic and kinky. You see? Yeah, erotic and kinky. So the other one thinks for a few minutes and she says, well, listen, she says, Mary, this is the best way I can explain it. She says, if your husband Sean comes home one night and climbs into bed with you and tickles you with a feather, that's erotic. But if he uses the whole chicken, that's kinky. I didn't tell that at the first one. I waited for me swingers to be in to tell that one, alright? You know, talking about Sean Sweeney and his wife expecting their first child, I must tell you, I told you about my family the other night, you know, but I didn't mention my sister. Now, you think I'm bad? The sister's 20 times more eccentric than I am, I can tell you. Her and her husband have just found out that they're expecting their first child after 3 years of marriage, right? Now, she wanted to find out whether the child was going to be a boy or a girl before the great event, you see. Now, that was me or you. We'd go to the hospital or go to the doctor and get some tests done, not her. She went to see a fortune teller, you see. And she said, this fortune teller said to her, well, what sign was the child conceived under? And my sister said, keep off the grass. So you think I'm bad? Nothing from what's at home, I tell you. Right. We have many obsessions in Ireland, right? And one of our biggest obsessions, I'm sure you know about a lot of them, but one of the biggest ones is the English language, right? We love to bounce it up and down and play around with and tear it apart and put it back together again. And the best example I can give you this is to tell you a little story about two friends who went for the same job interview, right? Now, one of these fellas was a very clever lad. He had brains to burn, this fella. And his friend wasn't stupid or anything, just not as clever as the first lad. So anyway, along they go for this interview, right? The clever lad is called in first. The interviewer's talking away to him. He says, listen, he said, to finish off this interview, I'd like you please to construct a sentence with the word great in it. Great, you see? So the fella thinks for a second and he says, I went into town last weekend, I bought a new overcoat and it fitted me great. See? The interviewer says, yeah, that's satisfactory, that's fine. He said, thank you very much, can you send the next candidate in? So his friend is outside like this, you see? He's scared to death about what he's going to be asked. So the first lad says to him, don't worry about a thing, you. He says, when you go in there, no matter what that fella asked you, just say, I went into town last weekend, I bought a new overcoat, and it fitted me great, and you'll be fine. No problems, all right? So in the second lad goes, he's chatting away to the interviewer. The interviewer says, now listen, he said, to finish off this interview, I'd like you please to construct a sentence with the word fascinate in it. The fella says, I beg your pardon. He says, fascinate. The guy's in a panic, you see, he doesn't know what to do. So he thinks furiously, and he says, I went into town last weekend, I bought a new overcoat, and it fitted me great. It had 9 buttons on it, but I could only fascinate. You didn't see that coming, did you? You see what I mean about bouncing it up and down? Right. Now listen, I'm getting a move on, because John's going to come on and play some wonderful stuff for you. So, I'm walking around the ship, people are very nice, you know, saying how much they enjoy the show and everything, but I know you enjoyed having a bit of a la-la-la with me, didn't you, the other night, right? So we're going to do a song now that's very quickly, great song for joining in on, so come on, join me on this one, send me off on a good note. Even if you don't know the words to this one, make up your own, I don't mind, right? As long as you're enjoying yourself. Let's hear you hit the rafters with this lovely, lovely song. Thanks, Robert. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. That's it. You may search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish rose. That's it. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. If you listen, I'll sing you a sweet little song of a flower that's now drooped and dead, yet dearer to me still than all of its mates, though each hold aloft its proud head. 'Twas given to me by a girl that I know. Since we met, faith, I've known no repose. She's dearer by far than the world's brightest star, and I call her my wild Irish rose. Here we go, let's see it. My wild Irish rose. Wonderful. The sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. You don't need me. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. One more time. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom beautiful. It was better than the other night. It was better than the other. That, you know what that was like? From up here. It was like sitting in front of the TV on Christmas morning, listening to the Vienna Boys Choir. It was absolutely gorgeous. Right, now, I'm not waiting, right, I have to get on. So, there's a young priest, right? He's having doubts about his vocation. He doesn't know whether he wants to be a priest anymore. So they send him to see the church psychiatrist. Right? The psychiatrist listens to him talk, and he says, Father, he says, do you know what's wrong with you? He says, you need a break. You need to take off your collar, you need to go away for a few days, forget about your duties, forget about your parish, and I guarantee when you come back, you'll feel absolutely fantastic. So the young priest takes his advice. He flies over to London for the weekend. He eats in some nice restaurants, he goes to see some West End shows, but on the last night there, does a disaster strike. He's been teetotal all his life, and he thinks to himself, I'll have one drink, just to see what it tastes like. You see, just to see what it... In that phrase, you have the downfall of the Irish nation right there. We could have ruled the world if it wasn't for that phrase. I'll have one drink just to see what it tastes like. All right. So anyway, he has one drink, leads to two, so on and so forth, right? He finds himself at 4 o'clock in the morning, slumped at a table, right, in a topless bar in Soho, which is the red light district of London. So there he is slumped at this table, and this topless waitress comes over to him. And she says to him, yes, Father, what would you like to drink? And the young priest gets into a panic. You see, he thinks he's left his collar on. He checks, he hasn't. So he says, well, how did you know I was a priest? And this topless waitress looks down at him, and she says, oh, Father, do you not recognise me? I'm Sister Mary from the convent. She said, we go to the same psychiatrist. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, it's time for me to get out of here. Let John come on and play some wonderful stuff for you. Now listen, I honestly want to say, not only to the swingers who've been so good to me with these later shows, but walking around, everybody saying hello, you know, saying nice things about the show. And thank you to especially all the gentlemen who told me all the jokes. 99% of which I could not tell from up here, alright? Liz would have me over the side in a rowboat when we went to San Diego now. But thank you for all those. And listen swingers, hopefully on this ship, but if not on this ship, on another ship, on another ocean, we'll meet up, we'll do it all again. Is it a deal? Yeah, shall we? Yeah, let's do it. Right, how I want to end this is I want to tell you one of my all-time favourite stories, and this is one you can take home. You can tell to your granny this, and she wouldn't say anything wrong, right? And it's a story about my friend McCarthy. McCarthy wasn't feeling too good, you see? So he went to see his doctor. The doctor said, McCarthy says you've come to the right man. I've just invented a new pill that makes you young instantly. Right? So he gives McCarthy a box of these pills. McCarthy goes home, but he starts to worry about these pills, whether there'll be side effects and stuff like that. So he leaves the box of pills there. And shortly afterwards, doesn't he emigrate to the United States, doesn't come back to Ireland for over 25 years. And when he flies into Dublin Airport, there to meet him at the airport is a beautiful young blonde woman with a little baby in her arms, you see? So as he approaches this blonde woman, she smiles at him. She says, hello, son. He says, I beg your pardon. She says, hello, son. He says, I'm sorry you couldn't be my mother. My mother's a much older lady than you. She says, I am your mother. She said, I took one of those pills you left behind you. He said, why, Mum? He said, that's fantastic, look at you. He said, you're so young and gorgeous looking. He said, because you're even young enough to have another baby. She looks down, she says, baby? She says, that's your father. He took two. Take it home, tell it to your granny, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Listen, let me leave you with one thing my granny said to me, right? And I want to pass this on in all seriousness. And it's to help me throughout my life. She said, Paul, she said, live every day as if it's your last. And one day, you'll be right. Good night, God bless you, folks. Thank you so much.